Happy Saturday, everyone. This is not a planned painting time, but I had a little bit extra time this afternoon. Been a busy morning, but I'm going to be working on our little gingerbread guy. So I thought if I'm going to be painting, you may as well paint with me. I am Pam Savage, owner of Young at Heart Creations, and I paint and paint and paint, and I love to teach others how to paint too. So I am in Sherman, Texas, about 50 miles north of Dallas. Excuse me. And on my last live, hi Judy, I was just about to talk about you. On my last live that I did, or the live before that, not sure which one, but was talking to someone that had hopped on and was asking questions and commenting, and I was sitting here thinking, you know, it's just so awesome to be able to sit here and do this with people from all over the world, all over this country. And so she finally either asked where I was from, and I asked where she was from, and I'm thinking, you know, probably somewhere up north and this and that. And Judy Logston, who's on now, Judy she's just like 10 or 15 minutes from me. So she just lives in the next town over, a couple of towns over, and she was actually the first and only one to sign up for the virtual party so far next week. So she won a big goodie bag full of stuff plus her kit. So I got to meet her this morning. I got to meet Judy in our parking lot where I worship and give her kit and all of her goodies, and we had a nice little visit, and it was just so much fun to find out how much we have in common and how much we both love to paint and craft. And it was just so exciting and so funny to be thinking of somebody miles and miles and miles away, and here she is in my backyard. So I've already met a new friend this week, and that has just made it all worth it. So we're going to be working on our little gingerbread man. And for those of you who are wondering about the live, the virtual live next week, we'll do it at 10 o'clock Saturday morning. We're going to be painting this little cute guy, little scarecrow. I don't see anything scary about him, do you? Anyway, I think he's a little sweetheart. You are so welcome, Judy. Thank you. She would be the first one ever to sign up for one of my virtual parties, and it's not too late for you to sign up if you would like to. If you, especially if you go to church with me or work with me, I can get you your kit. I think we ended up with 10 of the little cups. I thought I had one in here. Yeah, I think Judy, if you counted right, you ended up with 10 cups of enough paint to paint what is on here with all the colors. So you got everything you needed. I think I put you a string in there, Judy. I meant to. If I didn't, let me know and I can get you one if you need one. But her pattern, her graphite paper, step-by-step instructions, and she even got a little extra pattern. And because we're going to do a virtual live on this little guy on the back in the near future. So that is what we will be doing next Saturday morning. If you still want a piece, please let me know. It's only $20. If you are in my worship service with me or at work, you can just pay me in person, or you can go to my website, youngatheartcreations.com, and pay on there through PayPal. So you can do that with your debit card, credit card. It doesn't matter how you do it on there. It's all set up. So that's what we're going to be doing. So if you want to paint along with us next Saturday at 10, we may end up doing it in 2 parts. Not sure yet. We'll just have to kind of see where we go. But that's also my firstborn son's birthday that day. So we'll be doing some things as in the evening for him. So I had a message pop up. My husband and one of my other sons both just got David just got a fire pit for Father's Day from Buc-ee's, one of those big, huge fire pits and grills, but they were out of them. So we've been looking and going and checking regularly. Well, they finally got them in. So he got that new toy, and he's out working on that. And then my other son that just moved to Oklahoma just got a big new grill, and he was just texting me saying, I can't wait. So we're going to go have hamburgers, and I'm going to make some more homemade ice cream. It seems like we make homemade ice cream at least once a week, sometimes more than that. So we're looking forward to that next weekend. But let's get started on this little guy. This is what we did so far. We base coated him. This is just a mason jar. We base coated him in Ceramcoat, Delta Ceramcoat Old Parchment. It's got a yellow tint to it, a little more than antique white. a little darker, but just kind of a yellow tint. I just thought that the brown would show up pretty on that. And so what I did after we got off the other night, I did one of the peppermints up here with you, and then I just went ahead and finished those around, all the way around him. And then I started shading all around the Gingerbread Man. I just did the bottom just to kind of see if I was going to like that color, just to kind of give him some depth. And I do. So we're going to do that all the way around. We'll finish that right quick, and then we'll start putting some details on him. All right, and that was Espresso is what I used. And this is Americana, Deco Art Americana, and it's called Espresso. Kind of a dark, not a dark brown, I would say about a medium. It's darker than tan, but not as dark as the burnt umber, and like that. And then you want your base coat color, so I want a little bit of both, and I like to use the medium gel on that. I have a Toyota Highlander that I bought last year, and they had a recall on it right before all of the coronavirus stuff started. They sent a recall and said, you know, need to bring it in and get it fixed. It could just stop in the middle of the highway with you. And so, but then they couldn't get the part in because of all the coronavirus, and everything just came to a halt. So we finally got that fixed this morning. I had to go pick that up this morning after I met with Judy. And thank you, Judy. Thanks. I think it's well priced. By the time you purchase the wood, you know, in your pieces, I didn't cut those out. I ordered those from a place in Alabama, so I did have to pay a little more for the pieces and the paint and the patterns and everything. So I think $20, and to do it from the comfort of your own home, I don't think that's too bad. I would pay it. I have paid it. I did pay it, and I'm going to a 2-day seminar in at the end of August. Oh, it is August, isn't it already? So at the end of this month, I'm going to a seminar that's being held here in, I think it's being held in Pottsboro. So I'm going to that. And I paid for that, and I have to bring all of my own materials. So I have to supply everything for that, and I still paid for the instructor. So, okay, let's get started. I like to get my brush a little bit wet. I'm going to bring you down a little bit so you can see the piece as I'm working on it. There we go. Let's see. And I'll learn how to zoom this someday. We'll see. Hi, Jerry. Thanks so much for hopping on. Jerry is in our Painters Clubhouse with Tamara Bennett, and she's a painting buddy, so I appreciate you hopping on. We're going to work on this little guy some more. And here's the kind of the rough pattern I've worked on for him, so hopefully he'll turn out like that. I just kind of freehanded him, so we'll see how it goes. So what I'm going to do now is float that brown, that espresso brown, around him a little bit. So I just got my bristles wet, and I'm just dabbing them on my wet rag. And we're just going to go for it. So again, this was not a planned painting time with you today, but I was going to be painting. I just have to paint when I can. And so I thought, well, you know, I may as well just let the girls on with me. Maybe somebody else is just sitting at home today. My daughter went back home today. She's a school nurse, and they start back to school, just the faculty, Monday. So she went home, and the little puppy went home. So it's kind of quiet around here. I've still got one of the other grand dogs, but she's the old one. She's people years. She's 90 years old. So she likes to just kind of lay around and rest a little bit. Okay, so I've got my base coat on the bottom, and my color that I'm shading with, it's darker than my base coat, so it's shading, and I just blended it back and forth with a little bit of that medium gel, and I'm just going to put the brown right up against the little guy here, and we're just going to go all the way around it. Now this is a really dark color, so it does show up on that yellow, so I might have to adjust it a little bit as I'm going. Just all the way around him. Now this wood is that Luan wood, I think is how you pronounce it. Or Luan, I'm not sure. I got it at Lowe's, but it is a little porous. So a little more difficult to work with. And I'm just kind of touching some of that up that I did the other night. And then I just take my finger and just kind of blend that base coat color in. Okay, and I'm going to reload with that yellow. Same thing, and I'm doing it in the same spot, just back and forth. Get up in that crevice there. And this just kind of, I think just kind of makes him jump off of that yellow. Just really blend it in. Okay, let me get my wet wipe because I got a little bit of the yellow on that dark brown. And I'm not going to get a whole wet wipe. I'm just going to get a little piece there. Love, love, love my wet wipes. Judy was showing me a picture this morning when I met her to take her kit of a scarecrow that she just did. And it was one out of one of those, was it Tide Pod? Is that what you said, Judy? I think that's what she said it was. And it was so cute. He turned out really, really cute. Hi, Pam. One of my PC sisters, too. Oh, I just love our sister group in the Painting Clubhouse. If you've never been on one of Tamara's, watched her paint or listened to her talk about the Painters Clubhouse, it is a wonderful, wonderful group of ladies. And I'm telling you, if there's anything you need to know about painting, those ladies in there, I think there's over 1,000 of us now. Isn't that right, Pam? I think so. In that group, and so if there's ever anything I need, I just hop on there and say, hey guys, I'm working on this and I need your advice on this or whatever, and I mean in seconds. I've got tips and advice and here's how I did it, and everyone just shares. It's just a wonderful, wonderful group of ladies. And Tamara has an event. She's had 2 so far, and they were both in Nashville, or Nashville Live. This year she's having it in Dallas, and I just can't wait. But so some of us sisters get to meet. I've got one of, let's see, Leanne LeBuc, I think is how we pronounce it. You Can Paint with Leanne. Met her there, and so we've been talking back and forth a lot, and she lives in Canada. And Tamara was painting the other night, and somebody from Italy or Europe got on and said, hi. Wow, all over the world. Okay, so I'm just floating around this guy to kind of make him stand out off of that yellow. Now this this wood that I'm using, I'll show you here in just a second what I'm talking about, that it's kind of porous. And it's okay, depending on what the projects that you're doing. I like the, I love the MDF. It's kind of hard to find. And I like the Revolution plywood is what I usually use. I don't know if you can see that, how, see all these lines going down these ridges. Well, they're deep in spots, so it's kind of hard to get your paint to go on them evenly. But it works out. Okay, I'm going to load again. So we were up this morning early to go get my car and to meet Miss Judy and help my daughter get everything packed up. She's been staying with us a lot during all the corona stuff because her apartment is down close to the Dallas area. Well, she's actually in Rowlett. So she was coming up in this area where the virus wasn't so prominent. And each time that I'm just reloading, I'm just back and forth in the same spot. Pam, I'm going to be on as a guest with Tamara in the Painters Clubhouse on the 10th. I guess I better get the date right, huh? So I'm going to be on there, and we're going to paint a different kind of gingerbread man. It'll be kind of similar, I mean, with the style, but it'll be one of Tamala's rounds that we're going to do. So I hope that all goes well. I'm not really nervous about painting or being in front of everyone. That's exciting to me. I love that part of it, and meeting everyone. My biggest fear is the technical part. I hope I can get, I don't have any technical glitches that I can't get worked out. I'm going to have my husband nearby because my daughter's already gone home now, so I can't holler at her, Jennifer, come help me. Let's see, what do I do with my little, oh, there it is. A little bit of that, too much of that brown on that yellow. I don't like that there. You don't want to see a definite ridge on it. So just cleaning it up just a little bit. It's getting just a little bit darker right through here. Okay, so nothing really fancy, but it does make him kind of jump off there. It just gives him some depth. Oh, I guess if I could hold it. There we go. Now then. Okay, so let's go with the, let's go ahead and do the white. And with that, just all the little, this little white, I guess you call it rickrack, that's on him there, on the white. Let's use a round brush for that. Get one of my rounds. I got so many brushes. That one I've cut the end off of it. Bear with me. Let me look over here and get a round that I like. All right, here's a couple of different sizes. So I've got, one's a little bit fatter than the other. So let's see what we get with those. I'm going to start with the smaller one first. And it's a number 6 Crafter's Choice. Get some white poured out. Still haven't gotten any word as to whether or not they're going to be having the craft show in November. And I just learned that Judy is going to be a part of that too, if we get to have it. And let's see. Good, Pam. Say a prayer for me. You know, it's a little daunting when you're going to be painting on Tamara Bennett's platform. I'm like, oh, I got to do this right. You know, out of all of them, I don't ever want to mess up. You don't want that to mess up. Okay, so I'm just going to do, there's so many different ways that you can do Gingerbread Man. I could go all the way around him with rickrack. But for this one, I think we're just going to go on the edge of his arms. And I just did that with water, and I think that's going to be the perfect size for this. Remember, the more pressure you put down on the brush, the wider your stroke's going to be. The less pressure, the thinner. You can always add more. So if you want to start out thin, and then, you know, oh, that's not enough, I want to do a little bit more, then you can always do that. So I just put a little bit of white on my plate, just about the size of a nickel. That would be the grand dog. She barks every time somebody comes in the door, whether she knows you or not. Honestly, I think her little eyesight's getting a little bad. She's going on 14 years old, so she's about 90 in our age. Her hearing is perfect, but I kind of think her eyesight sometimes gets in her way a little bit. Okay, so let's just put him about midway down here, and I'm just going to squiggle. I'm just going to squiggle like a bracket, or is that what you call it? So I'm just going to up and down, up and down, up and down. And I'll go back and put a little bit of a second coat on it. Just that simple. Just up and down, up and down. But boy, what a difference little bitty details make. Okay, so we're gonna go do the same thing with this one. And I'm getting it not quite midways, just a little bit in from the end of his hand or his arm. And up, down, up, down, up, down. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. All right, Misha, did you get him? Did you get him? It's just Peppa. She's coming to tell me that somebody's outside and she thinks she has to go check them out. I'm getting a Q-tip. I like Q-tips. And yes, you did just see me spit on it a little bit because that really works on paint. The enzymes in your spit, now you don't want to do that with anybody else's because of the corona or anybody's germs, but yours is okay if you're the one using it. But that and baby wipes, it sure does help if you need to get something off of there. Okay, and so I'm just getting it a little bit thick. See if you can see it there on the end of my brush. And again, just going up and down, up and down. And just stopping when I get right to the edge there. Okay. Now that, to me, instantly says Gingerbread Man. So I'm going to do the same thing around his little face, but I'm going to use a little bit smaller brushed, quite a bit smaller brush to do that because I'm going to have so many details up here with his eyes and nose and mouth. I don't want it to get in the way of that. So this is also Crafter Choice, and it's a 0, so much smaller brush. Hi, Mom. Peggy Harmon is my mom, one of my other all-time supporters. Okay, so we're going to start right at the base of his head, where his head meets his shoulders, the arm and the head meet, and we're just going to go around and do the same thing, just kind of up and down. Up and down. There's really no certain pattern to it. I'm just going to go in and out, and I may have to reload because this is a small brush more than once, and I'm just getting some on the end there, right at the edge. Okay, and I'm reloading. Neighbors behind us are mowing, so you may hear a lawnmower too. We're actually having a cold front in Texas. It's only supposed to be, I think, 89 or 90 today for July or August. For us, that's great because we usually have above 100, but it was in the 70s last night. It was so nice. Just curving that around, just squiggly wiggly. Now with that brown that we shaded around, we floated around him, look how it makes that white pop around his head. I guess that would be I don't do gingerbread. I just don't care for it as far as eating it, and I've never made it. So I guess that would be the icing that's on him. I'm going to take this smaller brush too while I've got it loaded, and I'm going to go back in here and fill in a second coat. Just right in the middles where it's thin of the lines. Just kind of make it stand out a little more. You guys are awesome. Doing my 7-day live, so many of you were on here, and since I did that 7-day live and have been talking to you guys, and y'all were watching, and because you sprinkled the love, and with my videos, I have doubled my followers in the last couple of weeks, and also my likes. So that is super important to me, more important than anything. I mean, more important than getting, you know, paid for my stuff and whatever, but just knowing that people are watching and that maybe they're learning and having fun with it, that means more to me than anything. Okay, so just brighten it up, putting that second coat on there. And I don't have to worry about getting out of the lines of it because this is a much smaller brush than what we originally did them with, the first coat with. But it sure makes it brighter white. And I'm turning the piece so that I don't lay my arm around it. I mean, over what I just painted. And the dog's back in here and she keeps looking at me like, who are you talking to? You're not talking in the puppy dog voice when you're talking to me. And she keeps looking at me like, who are you talking to, Grammy? our family. My oldest son, Chris, and his family are about to board an airplane in Michigan to come back home. They've been in Michigan for 2 weeks. That's why we've had her going and seeing my daughter-in-law's parents that live out on an island, and they have bear and all kinds of things. So they've had a really adventurous 2 weeks. While I was visiting with Judy this morning, I was telling her that I have to do part 1s, part 2s because I can't paint fast. I'm not a fast painter. She said, oh, I'm not either. So I was glad to know that I'm not the only one. In the 60s in Illinois, wow. Oh, that sounds so good. Normally I am a summer person and I love, love, love the heat, but I don't know if it's the humidity or just me getting older or spending so much time up in our upstairs room that gets hotter. But I'm just ready for some fall weather this year. Now, I am taking just a little more time putting the second coat on and cleaning up my rickrack. I guess that's what it's called, rickrack. Just kind of smoothing it out a little bit. I can't believe. Somebody look up on your cell phone and see how many days it is till Christmas. It's not very many weeks when you really sit down to think about it. It's just gone. This year has gone by so fast with everything going on. Okay, see a couple of spots up here on his head that really need a second coat. I think I'm gonna put a little bit more on that one. And then we will do our circles for our little peppermint buttons. I did have some little bitty peppermints, plastic or rubber, like an eraser kind of, tiny little peppermint eraser type things that I'd gotten at Hobby Lobby, and I don't know what I did with them. They're here somewhere. That would be really cute. I use buttons a lot to embellish. Alright, one more side over here, and then I think we're done with our little rickrack. Let's do him this way so my arm's not going across what I just did. So Pam, up in Illinois, are y'all kind of still in lockdown, or are you getting to have paint parties? We're pretty much still in lockdown here in Texas as far as groups and things getting together. They are letting, you know, church is getting to worship. We do have to social distance and sit so many pews apart and wear our masks going in. But as far as renting places to have the parties, and that is just still a no-no right now. So all that's come to a halt. Okay, so I think that is good for that. That brush washed out good. Okay, now I'm going to figure out the placement of the little buttons. Now, I could take the pattern and put some graphite paper under it. Oh, that's still wet there. And draw them right there. And we can do that. Let me see if I've got some over here. Y'all hide your eyes if you can see in this closet, 'cause I know where everything is, but to someone else it looks probably a little messy, but there is some organization to my madness. Okay, I've got some white graphite paper. I've also got a package of graphite paper that's orange, yellow, red, and white. And different colors, because on some colors the black won't show up, and on white, the white doesn't show up. So sometimes you just need a color. let me see. Let me make sure that this is going to come off right. Make sure I get the right side down because this is both shiny on this side. So I'm going to put it on this black piece here. Okay, so I think it's going to be that side down. We'll see what that does. I've got one spot here that's really thick on that rickrack on his head. Let me dry that real quick. Okay, still kind of hard to tell on that. There, okay. You can tell which side went down, and it is shiny side down, just like I always tell y'all, but that didn't look right for some reason. Yeah, people, I think they're still, you know, really leery too. There's still a lot of cases going on. We've got some friends that are dealing with it with their whole family. Now this pattern does not fit exactly on here because it's a different pattern that I made, and I made it a lot larger than this one. Not a lot, but enough that there is a difference. But the gingerbread man will be the same. So I'm going to get him lined up on here, and we'll just do his little face. See if we can get him on there just right. I'll make sure that his head's lined up because that's where the face is going to be. Okay, now it looks close enough. Just need it under his face and his buttons, just to kind of give me an idea. So I just put that piece of graphite paper in between the pattern and the piece of wood. And we're just going to draw his little bow tie on. And I'm just retracing there. Let me see if that's showing up. Yes, it is. This way. Now I'm not going to put ribbon hanging down or the little tails or whatever because I think that would look girlish. So we're just going to do our circles here for our buttons, or peppermints. I guess you call them buttons, but little peppermints. And I'm going to put his nose in here. And I'm going to go ahead and trace his eyes on. Working with these tiny little spots here. Okay, and we'll do his hair. We'll just freehand his hair on there. Just make sure that bottom one got on there. Okay, let's go ahead and do his mouth as well. There's several different ways you can do the mouth. I think for this one we're just going to do like an open mouth there. Okay, so I've traced him on. And there's our little pattern on there. So just enough that I can see where I want to paint, and I already figured it out on the pattern, so that made it easy for me to just transfer it over. Okay, so I've still got my white out on my plate, so before that all dries up so it doesn't waste, I'm just going to use it and kind of get that white background for the peppermints going. Load it up there and circle around it and fill it in. Okay, y'all be thinking while I'm doing this, we've got a lot of red on there with the peppermints, so we could do his little bow tie in red with white stripes, or we could do it in a Christmassy green, just to give it a pop of green, something different. So be thinking and be commenting on there. What would you do it in the green to make it different? Or would you do it red with white stripes and just keep everything red and white? So I think it'd be cute either way. But let me know what you think. And I've got y'all kind of angled down, so that's why I'm looking at your comments like this. Okay, Judy says green, Pam says green. Well, that's what I had picked out because I already had it sitting here for that. Thanks, Judy. How can you go wrong with Gingerbread Man? They're always cute. Okay, so let's get them kind of filled in. Now I could also do a little flat brush and just kind of twirl it around. But I'm going to get the same effect with this. And you'll learn that you can use different brushes for the same thing to get the same effect. And it's just really what you become comfortable with. And this brush is kind of helping fill in those ridges of that wood. So let that base coat, this one, be drying, and we'll work on his bow tie while these are drying. So just all the way around. So Tuesday, we will have Tip It Tuesday. And that's where I give you a new tip each week. And I've got something that I just purchased that has just been a game changer for me, that I really like. I ordered 2 of them. They charged me for 2, and on the shipping label it said 2 came, but there was only 1 in the box. I got to deal with that, but I love it. And somebody else had the idea. It wasn't my idea. Now the way I'm using it now, I thought of it, but the original idea, a little bit differently, was with somebody else on Tamara's page. And that's another thing I like about the Painters Clubhouse with Tamara Bennett, Southern Adornments Decor. You just get so many different ideas and so much encouragement. And I hope so much to have a membership in the future where we can just all be together. Okay, so I'm just filling in those circles. I just got it base coated, and I might put one more coat because I can still see a little bit of that brown. But look at how each little detail just makes so much difference. And I just love when the little face comes alive. I become a kid, y'all, when I paint. I do. I just absolutely love, love, love it. Okay, so we're gonna let that. I'm gonna do it with the hairdryer right quick, so I'm gonna go and get those base coats done. And what I love is just taking a plain piece of wood and turning it into just something so much fun, and that just puts a smile on your face when you look at it. I just love going to craft shows and seeing all the different things that people do and love and enjoy. How many different varieties of things there are. I think next Tuesday, or this coming Tuesday, we do our Tip It Tuesday, and I try to paint something with you on Tuesdays. think we will do, let me get the second base coat on here and I'll show you what I think we're going to do. Since I did my Christmas in July and now August, paint with you. We'll do something fallish. And the next Saturday is the Scarecrow kit, the virtual paint party. And Miss Judy Loxton was the winner of the big bag with all the goodies in it. Let me show you what I think we're going to paint next Tuesday. And I guess the caption for this would be, go big or go home. So I think we're going to do this big pumpkin. I've only got a couple of them, but I think I'm going to paint both of those for the craft show. So I think we'll do that next week. A lot of base coating, and I think we'll just do it, just the orange and shading, and do this brown up here, some different colors of brown, and then put some polka dots on it. Something that won't take a real long time because it is such a big piece, but I think we're going to do that next Tuesday. So if you're in the pumpkin mood, just if you don't have a pumpkin, you can go out. I mean, I don't know if I'd have time to get you some cut or not. If you're interested in that, let me know, and I could work on it. I do have a smaller pattern than that I could get you, or if you have a pumpkin, you know, it would still be the pumpkin shape, and you would just paint it in the same fashion that I would be painting it in. All right, I'm going to get one of my smaller flat brushes and put just a little more white on that. I can still see, and that's the third coat, and I can still see a little bit of brown through there. Okay, that's covering much better. And I think it was just that brush. So I told you my hubby went and got his big fire pit grill today. So we'll be cooking out steaks and making some baked potatoes tonight. And trying that out. I don't know that we'll get finished with this little guy. I wasn't really planning on painting on him today. But I thought, well, I'm going to add a few more details. So you guys may as well get to do it with me. Okay, so for his nose, his little bitty nose up there, I chose to do a little bit darker red. And it is Americana, Deco Americana, and it is Napa red. So it's a little bit darker red than what we've got on the peppermints, which is a good color to shade your bright red with, because it's almost a burgundy. So we're going to do his little nose, and that won't take but just a second to do that little area. And it's not going to take much paint at all, so that nose is pretty small. And let's just use that brush we were doing the peppermint buttons with. I'm going to kind of flatten it out. I'm not going to leave it in the point. I'm just going to kind of flatten it out a little bit. Let's see what we get. See him down there? Yeah, it's almost a burgundy. All right, I've got another little round brush here that I think is going to do better. That one's just getting kind of feathered out. And then we can come with some of the dark brown and shade just around his nose. And that color covers really well. And I used this is a #1 liner with a low Cornell. Little bitty. You can see that? Where are you? Oh, there you are. Okay, little bitty, but one coat of that's going to be perfect. I don't even have to put a second coat on it. And that'll also be a good color if we decide to put a tongue. Like on this one, I put a little tongue, and that's the color I used on his nose, but I put a little tongue in there. This one's so tiny, I don't know if we'll do that with him. Okay, so we've got that done. And I've got to go somewhere in just a few minutes, so I may just be able to get this base coated and finish with you a little bit later here in about 30 minutes because I have to go help with something. But in about 30 minutes I can get back on after I help David. And I'm going to use that same liner brush just to kind of outline this green, and then we'll go over it with some darker green too to shade it. So I'm just outlining. Probably some of that pine green that we used the other night. Okay, I am getting summoned to go help with what I need. So I'm going to get off of here for just a few minutes. And then as soon as we finish that, I will be right back on with you and we'll work on it just a little bit more. So I'll be back in just a minute, guys. Thank you.